a rising tide flooding in a changing world. Our planet is experiencing a surge in flooding, both in frequency and intensity. This isn't just about more rain, it's about the convergence of multiple factors that are altering our climate and landscapes. From coastal cities to inland communities, the consequences are devastating. We're witnessing a global crisis that demands our attention and action. The human toll is immense, with lives lost, homes destroyed, and communities displaced. Economically, the damage to infrastructure and agriculture is staggering, jeopardizing livelihoods and national stability. The environment suffers too, with ecosystems disrupted and water resources contaminated. The deluge drivers unraveling the causes. At the heart of this crisis lies climate change. A warmer atmosphere holds more moisture, leading to heavier rainfall and increased risks of flooding. But it's not just about the rain itself. Rising sea levels, driven by melting glaciers and thermal expansion, are pushing coastal areas to their limits, exacerbating the impact of storms and high tides. Deforestation also plays a significant role. Trees act as natural sponges, absorbing rainfall and mitigating runoff. As we clear forests for agriculture and development, we remove this vital buffer, leaving the land vulnerable to erosion and flooding. Urbanization further compounds the problem. Concrete surfaces prevent water from seeping into the ground, increasing surface runoff and overwhelming drainage systems. Communities underwater, the high cost of flooding. The impacts of flooding are far-reaching, affecting every facet of our lives. Economically, the damage to homes, businesses, and infrastructure can be crippling. Rebuilding costs billions, straining national economies and pushing communities into cycles of debt and recovery. The loss of agricultural land and crops threatens food security, driving up prices and jeopardizing livelihoods. Socially, flooding leads to displacement as people are forced to flee their homes and seek refuge elsewhere. This displacement can be temporary or permanent, disrupting communities and exacerbating existing inequalities. The trauma of experiencing a flood can have long-lasting psychological impacts, leading to anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. When water overwhelms, stories from the front lines. In 2022, Pakistan experienced catastrophic flooding that submerged one-third of the country. The floods, fueled by unusually heavy monsoon rains and melting glaciers, affected over 33 million people, displacing millions and causing widespread damage to infrastructure, crops, and livestock. The disaster highlighted the vulnerability of developing countries to the impacts of climate change. In 2023, California was hit by a series of atmospheric rivers, narrow corridors of concentrated moisture in the atmosphere that unleashed torrential rainfall across the state. The storms caused widespread flooding, mudslides, and power outages, resulting in billions of dollars in damage and displacing thousands of people. The event underscored the increasing risk of extreme weather events in a changing climate. Section 5, Turning the Tide: Strategies for a Safer Future. Addressing the flooding crisis requires a multi-pronged approach that combines mitigation and adaptation strategies. Mitigation focuses on reducing greenhouse gas emissions to slow down climate change and its associated impacts. This includes transitioning to renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiency, and promoting sustainable land use practices. Adaptation focuses on adjusting to the changing climate and its impacts. This includes investing in flood defenses such as levees, seawalls, and improved drainage systems. It also involves implementing nature-based solutions such as restoring wetlands and creating green spaces in urban areas to absorb excess rainfall. Section 6. Adapting to the deluge: Building Resilience. Building resilient communities requires a shift in mindset and a commitment to long-term planning. This includes updating building codes to withstand floods, developing early warning systems to alert residents of impending floods, and creating evacuation plans to ensure the safe and timely evacuation of vulnerable populations. Investing in flood insurance can help individuals and businesses recover financially from flood events. However, insurance alone is not enough. It's crucial to address the root causes of flooding by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and implementing sustainable land use practices. Section 7, our collective responsibility, a call to action. The flooding crisis is a global challenge that requires a collective response. Governments, businesses, and individuals all have a role to play in mitigating climate change, adapting to its impacts, and building more resilient communities. We need strong leadership and international cooperation to implement effective policies and investments. We can all make a difference by reducing our carbon footprint, supporting sustainable practices, and advocating for change. By working together, we can create a safer and more sustainable future for ourselves and generations to come. Section 8, Conclusion, charting a course toward a water-resilient future. The growing flooding crisis is a stark reminder of our planet's fragility and the urgent need for action. By understanding the causes of flooding, investing in mitigation and adaptation strategies, and fostering a sense of collective responsibility, we can chart a course toward a more water-resilient future. Let us act now with courage and determination to protect our communities, our economies, and our planet from the devastating impacts of flooding. The time for complacency is over. The time for action is now. Together, we can turn the tide on this global crisis and create a more sustainable and equitable future for all.